Guys, it's Nat. So finally, I decided to gather my thoughts on total journey update because I know the first two sessions is me just talking about things I was going through, like in the early stages. Well, I guess it was more like the mid stages because it was in April. I was kind of already set in my new life, right? My new lifestyle, and all the new changes. So I was like kind of hitting all of the speed bumps and all of the challenges of like that I had to learn how to overcome to be able to maintain this for the rest of my life, right? So I think it's needed for just not only anybody who might be curious on that transition period, because I know I watch a lot of creators that have already achieved that life, and I still take a lot, and I mean a lot of that knowledge set that they give us and those examples as like stepping stones. Like it helped me build systems and new habits that would help me in the long run. Like I know like it's not as easy as they make it seem, right? Because they've already gone through the hurdles, they've already challenged their demons and fought like through all of the struggle to get to the point where it's easier for them, which not to say that it's easy, because I'm sure, especially anybody that's still like that overcame like a ED, that shit never leaves, right? Or at least from what I've heard. I'm not sure if it's possible to treat it away. I don't know, but I know it's not easy. It's just easier than, of course, when you're just starting out. And I was realizing that as I was trying to get closer to that 80/20 whole food to processed food kind of diet, and as well as just maintaining a healthier, like more movement, quitting the 420ing, and then also just in general, like eating more mindfully, because that was something that was also, I just knew it wasn't going to help because it was like one of the biggest hurdles. But now being finally, because it's the 29th of June when I'm recording this, so it's literally the half year mark. If you think about it, yeah, it's like about the half year mark. The start of July will be Q3, and so I was like, let's get on here, like talk about where I'm at so far, and just kind of like, what the plans going forward are, like where I am right now in my actual routine, my lifestyle, and also just like wanting to talk about things that I feel like I was able to achieve that I wanted to when I first started this, that I was really wanting to hit, like goals I wanted to hit, um, lifestyle implementations that I wanted to hit, and seeing like if I was able to maintain them and all of that. So it might be a little all over the place because my script is literally just like 6 bullet points, and I'm going to be talking for about an hour. So let's hope that it's not too out there, because when I edit some of these audios, it's a little rough. So just to start, so I started the year off at 344 pounds, or 344.6 pounds. And as of, I think the last weigh-in I did was on the 26th, and it was at 29. Oh no, like 29. It was at 297.8 lbs. Editing Natalie here. So I have my screenshots of when I was at that 297.8 lbs. However, well, okay, so I think what happened was this whole month I was not taking my birth control pretty regularly. Like at the same time, I missed the a couple of days of pills, and I would have to like double up on some days just because I was super inconsistent. So I think like starting that week of my last weigh-in, which was at 622, I tried to weigh in a couple times since then. And just because I think this is what I looked up anyways from Google, but whenever you do mess up your consistency of your birth control, it does cause like a lot of spot bleeds. And that was happening to me, where I just felt like I had a really long period where I was just bleeding for a really long time, which I know is a little bit TMI. But after like that whole week, like I was just extremely bloated, and I went back up to a 299 for about a week. Oh, actually, I think, let me see. I have 270 at 627. So the 27th, I was at 307.7. And then the next day after that, I dropped 1.1 pounds at 299.6. And then recently, I weighed myself on the 3rd, which editing this, it's the 5th of July. And so 2 days ago, I was back down to the 298.2. And I know that my period ended on the 1st, but yeah, so I think it's just having a really long extended period from being super inconsistent with my birth control just caused me to get out of that number. So I didn't want to be like dishonest and say that I was still there, because now technically I'm at 298. So I don't know, thought I'd add that in there, but I'm not worried about it. I know I've had this before where I would fluctuate back and forth, and that's just normal. Like, especially when you weigh yourself constantly, your body's just going to naturally fluctuate. There were some days where I didn't use the restroom, or I was drinking a lot of water. Like, there was one day I drank 3 Cane's cups worth of water, and I decided to weigh myself, and I was just like, whoa. Cause like I did that for fun one time, cause I was like, does drinking water affect how much the scale shows? And sure enough, when you drink what would be an equivalent of, actually, these are like 32 ounces, I think, like those big plastic Cane's cups. That's like what I usually drink water in. Are the ounces of water the same to ounces in pounds? If it is, which I could be dumb, I drank like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6. Is that 6? 6 gallons of water. And it wasn't like all at once. I'm not crazy. I just drank one when I woke up. I drank one when I ate breakfast. And then, actually, I think it was just two. Yeah, it was just two. I cannot see myself. When I was really thinking about it, I was like, think back on that day. How'd that go? There's no fucking way. There's no way I drank that much. But yeah, so literally the littlest of things can cause different variations. Plus, I've also been exercising a lot more. And I know, like, whenever I restart exercising, my body retains weight for a while, and then suddenly it'll just kind of drop. And I've been trying to go pretty hard. I'm very tired of having excuses, which I talk about later. But yeah, this is editing Natalie just dropping in. Now I'll leave past Natalie to continue. Bye. That is a total loss of 46.8 pounds, which is right on track for the 100-pound goal that I want to hit. It's just a little bit like, I think I definitely had some hiccups. I was not perfect all the way through the half of the year. And honestly, like, I'm trying to be okay with it, because like obviously, like, 46, 47 pounds, what was it? Yeah, 47 pounds is nothing to scoff at. It was still incredibly hard, and I don't know why I thought I was going to be able to beat perfection, like absolute perfection, the all the way through. And I knew that making mistakes and learning from them is what I was going to have to do. But sometimes it does kind of suck when you're just like so motivated at the beginning of the year. And they always say, like, sometimes the motivation is not enough to sustain it. It's just a good like thing to jump, like jumping board, or what is it, like diving board into it, like. But you need to have not determination, I always forget the word, and it's probably because I don't have it like that. Diligence, no. Melina, honey, Miss Honey Bison, please, what's the word? Start, I know it's a D word. I know it's a D word. It'll come to me. Discipline. Jesus freaking Christ. Discipline. So it's the discipline that's going to like get you all the way to like through to the finish line. And when you have lived a life of zero discipline, where you succumb to your every want, your every whim, and of course, like, I understand now that I was going through a lot of difficult emotions, difficult situations, and not having any healthy way to approach them or actually process them internally, I would spiral, get really mentally ill, or like my mental illnesses would really peak. And I would use that as an excuse to go totally ape shit and eat whatever the hell I wanted, and say it was because I didn't want, like, because it was my mental health, right? So, now I know, like, looking back, like, that was actually crazy how the mind can truly believe something and make it its reality. Like, I truly believed that if I didn't eat what I wanted, like my sweet treats, my favorite snacks, like my favorite meals, and I had to eat meals that were boring, or like yucky, healthy, whatever. And that's crazy because, like, honestly, I do like things like salads and stuff. But of course, you usually like the salads would be covered in sauces, dressings, whatever. But it's just crazy that like my mind was literally so trained to my happiness came from these foods, or even not just my happiness, but like my emotional regulation came from food and came from like, well, yeah, I guess my happiness, I would say, like, I did rely a lot of my happiness on the food I was eating. Like, a lot of times, whenever it'd be like, oh, I want to go do something fun, let's go get something good to eat. Oh, like, I want to go do something fun. Like, why couldn't something fun be just going on a hike, going and, like exploring nature, something like that. And even now, I still kind of get a little bit, I'm not a big nature girly, guys. I'm not. And which really sucks because I do appreciate nature like a lot. Okay, like I am someone who can appreciate it. It's just being out there, oh, it's hard for me. Well, and I think it's honestly because I just recently learned as well that being overweight can obviously cause tough time regulating like your internal heat. And I think a lot of it was like, oh, I didn't like feeling hot. Like that feeling was always so gross, feeling like I was like prickling from the inside from being like so hot and just being sweaty. And then realizing even like now losing more weight because I live in Vegas where it's really hot and I'm walking to and from my work building, like at the heat of the day, like the peak heat of the day. So it will be like 108 degrees out while I'm walking into my car, which it'll be burning hot, but like it doesn't irritate me the way it used to. Before, I would already be in a bad mood because I felt so like I was instantly already overheated. I would be insanely like I don't know, like it would dysregulate me really bad, like just because I think my physical sensations also I have really hard time with sensory stuff, so sometimes they will trigger like my emotional destabilization. Okay, and I guess this is kind of like I'm kind of jumping ahead as I knew I probably would to kind of what some of that non-scale changes are. So like going through like from non the scale change of 46 almost 47 pounds, like the non-scale changes would be just something like that, right? Where like getting hot, it's I don't get as insanely irritated. I feel like I'm not as affected by the heat. Well, and it does help that I lost a lot of body fat. So, and I still have a lot. So, it's the difference is so crazy. And also just getting cold a lot faster. I still have a lot of fat on me. There's still a lot on me. And I still get really cold, like cold in ways that I had never felt. Not really. So those are some interesting non-scale changes there. But to go back to the scale changes, just so I can stick to script. So the BMI change from there was a 48.2, which is terrifying because that means when I was at my 370, I was probably over 50 BMI, and that makes sense. That checks out. Checks out. I was definitely feeling like it was a 50 BMI because I know I mentioned it in my last video that being overweight and being 370 pounds sucks, and it is. But another like non-scale change, right, which would I think is 100% contributed to my BMI was I feel like I can breathe deeper. Like it was a realization I had when I was on my walking pad, which is one of my updates. I got a walking pad, y'all. I was really trying to wait, pause. Let's not derail. I'll talk about it in a little bit. But I was on my walking pad and I was doing an hour walk. So I've been trying to do well, mostly I'm trying to catch up to 10K steps like a day. And the reason why I'm suddenly like jumped into it is because I think this is why I really enjoy recording these videos for myself internally, and that's because I was listening to my video of saying how I couldn't possibly like have a goal of 10K steps a day when there's some days that I can't hit it. It's gonna be bad, like. And honestly, though, I don't blame Natalie of the past. Even back then, even 2 months ago, it was still hard to not take like fails and losses and let it impact me like negatively, like not let it impact me emotionally, because I'm kind of like I always say this, like I've had this idea that I want to do things and be perfect at it. I want to do things and not have that like embarrassment of being bad at something or making a mistake. And that's true in a lot of aspects of my life, like in work and just friendships. Like I don't want to be bad at something. Even with hobbies, like sometimes I'll study like stuff that I find interesting. Like if I wanted to learn knitting, I would watch hours of knitting content before I ever picked up needles, or like just like that's just as an example. And just like recently, I'm playing because I've been playing Minecraft for a while now, and I watch a lot of speedrunning content. Like I really like watching people speedrunning Minecraft. And like I attempted probably around 2 years ago, a year or two ago, to try to do like to try to record myself doing a speed run, right? Like I was like, let me, I want to try. Like I find it so fun watching people do it, and I'm like, I want to be able to do it, right? And I did attempt it. I attempted to do it, and I know this is nothing to do with weight loss, but it just kind of shows kind of my how I am, and I sucked at it. Obviously, like I sucked at it. It took me 6 hours to get to the end. And if you guys know anything about Minecraft speedrunning, which I know not a lot of people casually do, they even like the runners. Well, I shouldn't say like that suck because they don't. Like say like someone who just picked it up, right? That are usually good gamers. They can understand game mechanics pretty well, so they are generally like good enough to pick up games and be pretty good at it. They can beat it like the first time within like an hour. So 6 hours, y'all. So okay, so that kind of then put me like into this mentality where I can never do that again unless I learn every mechanic. I learn every little like Minecraft like I need to know where all the gold blocks are in the bastion before I ever do it again. I need to learn how to do all of the measuring and stuff, and I need to look up how to put in all of the like the macros that they use to do it, and without ever touching foot in another world and trying it again. Like I'd never allow myself to be bad at stuff, and then some because I can't handle the disappointment, like the making the mistake. And I've recently been trying to get better at that. Okay, how did I get to that? Hey, chat. How did I get to that point? So BMI, walking pad, being able to breathe longer. Okay, I had to literally go back like 3 minutes in my last audio recording just to figure out where my train of thought went. And usually I'm pretty good at remembering, like being able to backtrack, but maybe I didn't have enough caffeine today, so my brain's a little scattered. But basically, what I was trying to get at was back then, I was like, I cannot hit 10K steps. So, and that was just due to not being good at time managing my own time because I was also allowing the the instability of my work to mentally affect me, which I think now that I've gotten better at my job and that I've actually allowed myself the ability to make mistakes. Like that was like that's another way that brings it that like insecurity of being bad at something. I was so nervous that I was going to make a mistake, and it's like kind of a role where I'm by myself and I'm not really good at like being super secure and making decisions all by myself, but having to be the confident, feeling like confident enough to be able to make decisions and have like make calls without having somebody to have like a backboard like sounding board with, like, hey, is this a good call, like should we do something else. It took a lot of practice. I had to really be okay with making mistakes and realizing that most mistakes can be fixed. And if they can't be fixed, we can apologize and learn and get better for the next time. Because most times people aren't gonna, like slap you for making a mistake at work, right? They're not gonna like it's not gonna be anything bad. They're just gonna be like, hey, like next time, like this call wasn't the best call. Like you didn't think of this potential like negative effects and it happened, but it's okay. Like we figured it out, we fixed it, but just for next time, don't, like this would be a better solution. And instead of letting that be like I am an absolute terrible dog shit employee, I need to be fired immediately, like, because that would be somewhere I would go. I would get that low. And so that Natalie of that past was in that mindset, still deeply in that mindset, and I'm still fighting it. And she was like, I can't have a failure when I'm already struggling so hard to be consistent, to have these like, like I just wanted it to always be little victories and to not have any challenge, because I was afraid that any challenge, any setback, it was going to make me quit. It was going to make me have some sort of mental crisis. And that was just that really was just something that I really had to address within myself. And I think rewatching that video and seeing it and realizing, wow, like even just a couple months ago, it was so much worse. No, I shouldn't say that. Like, well, I guess it was. It just really was that I was really going through it. Like I said, I was still, even though I was like 6, 7 months into that job, I still felt like so insecure about it. And I think it is just because of that, like not being able to have somebody there. Like it is kind of nerve wracking to make that decision all by yourself. Like when there's nobody around, not until like in the AM because I'm the night shift counterpart. So it's it's difficult, but I've learned to accept possible, like mistakes and realize now like I'm not allowing myself to grow in certain ways because I'm too afraid to actually like instead of like thinking about how I could make a mistake and how something can go wrong, instead of doing that, using my prior experiences, my learned knowledge from other of my coworkers telling me like experiences they've had in very similar circumstances and stuff, and just calculating what would then be a good solution at the time instead of just being like, oh, this could go wrong, this could go wrong. Like if I make, like it, and I feel like when I started implementing that, like do the best to what you think, like with your experience, with what you've heard others say, you do the best option that you can think of now. And, even sometimes, I'm not going to lie, when I was first implementing this, I was 100% doing things maybe a little too extreme, just a tad, where it was like I was being extremely safe, extremely like I was trying to cover a lot of bases, and it was entirely unnecessary. And even like some of my coworkers were like, well, it wasn't a bad call, but you probably just didn't have to do that. And I was like, oh, okay, my bad. Now taking that as a valid, like, valid, not criticism. It was just more like, oh yeah, that like it wasn't a bad call, but you just didn't have to do it. Like I was like, oh, so the scale of this kind of situation doesn't require that much escalation. Okay, awesome. So actually being someone who's willing to make, or not even make mistakes, but getting some form of not even negative, like, because even something like that would have set me back before. I would have been like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I would have apologized instead of just being like, oh, okay, cool, next time. And some people don't realize how unnatural that is for some people, because I know there's some people that I work with that I envy them so much. They have so much of that, like, natural, like they let things roll off. Like, like they roll with the punches. And for me, I even though I'm very round, I don't roll like that. Okay. Like it does, nothing rolls off. It all sticks. So I, again, when was watching that over and realizing, Natalie, you need to grow up. You need to, because I was still kind of using that excuse, not gonna lie. I was like, hey, I've been really busy at work, man. I've been having to come home and just relax. And then when I was watching that and listening to my coping, like I was just pure copium of why I was starting to slowly lessen my exercise and realizing that I slowed it all the way down to almost nothing in the recent months, right? Because I honestly, it was like almost nothing. Like I would get maybe like 3,000, 4,000 steps a day. And that was just from naturally walking to and from my building, sometimes having to walk to certain places in my work. And that's just, that's not good. I had goals and I did really good in the beginning of the year for the exercising. So I would say that lifestyle implementation that I was really wanting to be very consistent with, that I did have trouble being consistent with it. So first half of the year, so I would say maybe up until March, I was very consistent. I was walking 30 minutes in the morning, and then I would do some kind of video, like exercise video at night. And I was pretty consistent with that. And then, even then, on the weekends, I would do a 3 mile walk. So, like, usually the 30-minute walks would be around a mile. So, I would do like an hour and a half walk around my neighborhood on the days that I had off, right? Or I would do like a long workout video, something like that. And then I would just do the 30 minutes, like in the before work. And then I would do like a 30-minute or 15-minute workout video when I got back home. And then it wasn't until April, because like, yeah, like literally April, because that's where I was starting to review some of my videos, where I was starting to struggle a little bit more with, like, the job was getting really stressful because we were implementing a lot of changes. And I used that again as a cope to slowly ramp down. And like I said, I've been slowly ramping down to where there was probably like 2 weeks where I did not do any walking, not voluntarily. Like I was like I said, I would still hit like 3 or 4K steps on average, but that's nothing, right? And then realizing that I got deep into that cope because I was still in it. Because I recorded that one like 2 weeks ago. And last week, no, it was like right after that video, literally the next day, I was like, yeah, you're you're dumb as hell. Like now we realize that we let that spiral for too long, and look at where we're at now. And instead of like letting that be a another like, oh, we failed, we weren't consistent with that goal that we wanted to maintain, I just kind of took it in, you know what? It was a setback, it was a speed bump, but technically we didn't like fail, right? Like I'm still losing weight pretty consistently. Was it at the pace that it was at the start of the year? No, it wasn't. And realizing that, oh well, obviously if we just restart it, then the pace will pick itself back up again. And when I like, because again, that's just me finally getting over that mindset of letting failure completely derail me, to now being like, okay, well, now we learned, right? Like slowing down our exercising slows down the weight loss, you know? And I'm like, I want to hit that 100-pound goal. And luckily, we're still on track. Like, of course, like I would prefer to be over 50 pounds lost just to have like a better head start, right? Because, everybody knows the last couple months of the year are foodie fests, right? Like, it's when we have our holidays and our, like, all of these foods, but it's not too late. It's not too late. I'm gonna keep doing it. I started re-implementing working out. Like I said, I got a walking pad, and I love it. Legit, I thought it was gonna be one of those things that I get on it, and I was just gonna be like, okay, like this is still something that sucks. Like I still don't want to do this because I did not want to walk outside, and I enjoyed walking outside. There was something about walking around my neighborhood that at the start of the year that I loved, and it was just the fact that I can see new sights, hear sounds. I don't know, because I'm such a homebody sometimes that I could literally just not only know what the inside of my house looks like and inside my office looks like. Okay, so getting to even go around the same neighborhood, but seeing like, oh, there's a neighbor mowing their lawn, oh, there's like, XYZ, like, just hearing and experiencing little tiny things around the neighborhood and just seeing glimpses of other people's lives. I love it. I loved it. But it's just too damn hot in Vegas right now to walk outside. Even with my new tolerance to the heat, I still don't want to burn, because I do burn. So I did not want to go outside and just get burnt and crispy and hot. Okay. So I was just like, no, thank you. And so I wanted to still get my steps in. And workout videos are great, like the walk at home workout videos. And while I was waiting for the walking pad to come in, I started doing them more often. Like I had to do a slow ramp up. I did, and I allowed myself to do that. I know it's going to be really hard to restart to the level we were at the start of the year. And I was like, I don't know where my body is like right now. Like, did I lose all stamina? Did I have any like regression where like now I'm going to be like huffing and puffing, and like I can't do a 30-minute workout anymore? So to kind of scale it myself in, I did I did a little 15-minute one a couple of days. I was like, okay, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, this feels good. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, it felt too easy. It felt too easy. Let me do a 45-minute one. And it kicked my ass. I was so sore. I was like, okay, you know what? I should have done 30 minutes. Why did I jump? Because obviously 15 might have just been a little too easy. I should have done 30. But after the 45, I was like, this is what it's all about. Literally, this is what it is. Because even though I was super sore, it felt good to push myself again. It felt good to have that feeling of, oh, I can't, how am I gonna finish? And then finishing it and being like, oh, and then like that soreness, even though it sucks, it is kind of like a little trophy where you're like, it's because you worked hard. And after that, I was like, okay, like I'm going to 30. I did start going back to 30 because I was really sore, but I didn't want to be like, I'm too sore to work out, I need to recover. So I was like, I'm gonna go back to just doing a 30. And I did that. And then I ordered my walking pad. Sorry. I love her. I love her. She's so, like, I think it's why I like it more than the videos as well, is because I can watch and listen to something. Guys, this might be embarrassing to admit. But I was getting bored of the at home walking videos because I had to pay attention to just that. You know what I mean? Because it plays music a lot of the time where you have to follow the beat of the music they are playing. And you also have to listen to their instructions because they'll be like, oh, okay, we're going to do knee ups, side step, like, and stuff like that. And they'll be like, walk in place. And so you have to be paying attention. And so I couldn't do anything else but pay attention to it. So my brain would get very bored really easily. So obviously, the way the walking pad can help is, and this is what I've been doing, which is like, it sounds crazy. And I even, like, my roommate came in and saw me doing it, and I kind of felt embarrassed. But I have it in my dining area because there's like a TV in my dining area, and I was watching someone playing Draft Out, which is just like a Minecraft like bingo board lockout kind of thing, and I was watching them play that, like they were like live streaming, or like it was like their replay VOD, and I was listening to like music and like, or I'm just listening to other stuff, like maybe I would probably listen to like a book, or if I did that, or I'd listen to I like listening to like affirmation sometimes, or I'll listen to um I'm blanking. Oh, like, like maybe like a honey bison video, I'll play it and I'll be just listening, and then I can still watch my my Minecraft stuff up there. And honestly, some people might be like, how can you pay attention to both? Easily. That's a nothing to me. I mean, sometimes you do zone in and out. Like if something gets a little more interesting, I'll start realizing, oop, not paying attention to what I'm listening to, but I can just go back. Okay. And my brain enjoys it. I don't know if it enjoys it actually. I just know it's used to it. And it made the hour fly by. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to like this. I've done it 3 times so far. And each time I was able to hit an hour walking, hitting about like 7K steps. Easy. And I've been loving it. Okay. Sorry, I talked a lot about about the exercise portion, but that is kind of where I am at in my journey, where I gave up a little bit. I was still obviously implementing the diet changes, but even then, those kind of, I get transition. Those had hiccups as well. So, with that, right? With the diet, so I'm still doing 2,300 calories, and I'm gonna try to schedule a new appointment with my dietitian. It's been kind of backed up because like I had scheduled 2 times separately, like an appointment with her, and each time she canceled because she double booked me. And I was like, oh, okay, no worries, I'll do it next Tuesday. But then after the second like double booking, she went on vacation for like 3 weeks or like 2 weeks, and I was like, shit. So I haven't seen her in like about a month and a half. And even though like don't feel like I'm needing a lot of like actual diet advice, I do want to still like speak with someone who might potentially like see like, hey, you know what, like the weight loss is slowing down, let's adjust differently, stuff like that. But I've started to be really good at realizing patterns in my own food. Like as an example, on Sunday I had to work overtime, and actually there's no excuse, I had 2 meal preps left over for that week, and I knew that I had them, but I was like, I didn't have any breakfast, and that's something that I have not had consistently all week. And I think did I talk about it? I don't know. I feel like I think I talked about it in like a car vlog that I did recently. Um, but yeah, just because of bad planning, because I've been doing a lot of OT, and not having enough readily available like easy cook meals for breakfast, and then being tired and oversleeping too much, so like I don't have enough time to make like something that might take more than 15 minutes for in the morning. I haven't been eating a good amount of breakfast, and it was just this week where that was the case. And so on Sunday, I went to Costco and I got a sushi platter. I got a sushi platter. It was like a spicy crunch sushi platter. And it was because like I've been like, obviously I go to Costco a lot for my shopping stuff, and I always see it and I'm like, oh, that's gonna have to be like a special occasion. And I know it's crazy because I should just instead treat myself to actual sushi from a sushi restaurant. But I'm like, this is probably just for like a, hey, let me plan my calories to be able to accommodate this. And it could be like for like a week that I don't feel like going out, because there's sometimes where I wouldn't want to go out and go do like a sushi thing because I don't really have a lot of people to go with me at this moment in life. So I was just like, no, this would be like a good alternative, right? And it's Costco. Costco usually has good shit. And so I was like, okay, I'll eat this for breakfast, and I have my 2 little meal preps. How bad can it be? I don't know why. I should have checked the nutritional label, but then I checked it when I got to work, and I was like, okay, time to eat this. It's my breakfast. And I look on the label, and it says 480 calories. And I was like, period. That's nothing for 10 pieces. And there's 22 pieces in that plate. So doing the math, that's over almost 1,000 calories. Or is it over 1,000 calories? And I was just like, well, I'll just only eat one of my meal preps then. I'll just eat because I had a yogurt as well. I had made like a little yogurt parfait set kind of thing. It was just like Greek yogurt, a little bit of sweetener, and then a little bit of sweetener, and some like sugar-free vanilla syrup, and then just some cut up fruit, kiwi, a little bit of strawberry, a little bit of grapes. And I was like, okay, I'll just eat the parfait and one of my meal preps. And then I'll eat this whole tray. I ate that whole tray for breakfast, y'all. The whole thing. And it was because I was starving. Because by that time, like, I had woken up. I had gone to Costco. Like, so it was like an hour and a half since I had been awake. Actually, let me see. I woke up like at 1 and I ate at 3. So it was 2 hours. Okay, yeah. It was 2 hours after I'd woken up and I hadn't eaten anything. So, of course, I was like famished. Because usually I'll wake up and within 30 minutes I'll have breakfast and I'll eat it, you know? So, this was not the norm. So my body was like, okay, where's my food? Eat now. So I ate that whole tray, 1,000 calories for breakfast. Okay, y'all? And I was hungry after like 2 hours. And why is that? Because that was all freaking carbs. There was no protein in that. And just like having that reinforced, because sometimes, like when you're starting your diets, you're like, or like the lifestyle change, the diet part, where you're doing more high protein, less, like, what are like the opposite of slow release carbs? Like fast carbs. I don't know. And you don't eat as many of those like carbs that spike your blood sugar really fast, that don't really have a lot of satiation. Like you're just kind of doing it. But it's so like, I don't know, like it isn't until you break from it that you actually feel the reason why you set up your meals like that. Like when I feel it, when I'm like, this was too much carbs and not enough fiber or too much fat, I can feel it instantly. Like my body will instantly feel wrong. And not like instant, like I'm like, oh, like this is disturbing. No, like legit, there will be like a reaction mentally almost. And I think that's actually scientifically backed, if I'm not mistaken, where they say that protein actually like signals fullness to your brain. And like now, like as again, being a little bit more mindful of realizing what I'm actually putting into my body and realizing how my body reacts to it, it does help a lot to not to like to be more like consistent with like doing the higher protein, with doing all that. Because then you realize, if I don't put enough protein in this, I'm gonna be hungry in 3 hours. So let me figure out a way to add more protein to this while still keeping it relatively lower carb, just so that I can, like support myself throughout the day. So like I'm not starving after having a meal. Or like really quickly after having a meal, which would then of course make it harder for me to resist the snacking, to resist any temptation. So it's really good to make those little mistakes. Well, it's not even a mistake, it was a choice. It was a choice that I knew was not going to be great, but to feel the actual ramifications of it afterwards, it's humbling for sure. So yeah, like it's really like good to have that like now learned experience, and to have made those choices, and just kind of reinforcing, not even just mentally, but like yeah, it's like affirming the want to have that more balanced diet. So I think sometimes breaking out of like doing the full like diet and having these little times where you eat something that you're like, oh, like this isn't something that I want to do all the time, but let me just have it. And obviously, like, do I regret it? No, because it was delicious. Like I really did enjoy it. Um, but will I do it often after that? No, not at all. Like I honestly, like, I feel like I got that little craving of wanting that sushi, and now I'm just like, that was awesome, but time to go back, because I know like I wouldn't be able to do that consistently in any way, shape, or form, because it will again had not help support me in making sure that I don't overeat, that I don't eat more than I need to. And it wasn't something that were like, oh, I had the sushi once and now I can't stop thinking about it, I want it again. And I think I'm so glad that I waited a bit to try to allow myself to have some of the things that aren't like that are pretty easily available, that I know aren't good for me. Like just what I mean by that is, if I was wanting some kind of like junk food, right? So say it was pizza, say it was like Chinese food that I didn't make, right? Like so like takeout, maybe like Italian food, sushi, Korean barbecue. So like what I would do or what I did was if I wanted any of that junk food, I would make it worthwhile, right? Where it was like I'm not going to go and get a Little Caesars pizza to fill that craving and then get a bunch of these like pretty calorically dense foods that I know I'm going to still feel hungry later, and I'm probably going to have to either plan around it for the whole week where I'll eat a little bit less every day and probably go hungry a couple of days to like just to have this subpar pizza, which I still love Little Caesar. Okay, like I grew up eating that, but instead of doing that, I'd be like, well, if I'm gonna have the calories, I'm gonna invest it in something that's actually well made. Like I'm gonna go to Amano's. I'm gonna go to, I know Blaze Pizza isn't the best, but I do like Blaze Pizza. But I'm like I'd go to Blaze Pizza where I can at least customize it a little bit, make it a little less bad. You know, get the cauliflower crust, add more veggies to have more fiber in there, and like it just has like a better quality to it. But like, you know, or like I'll go to like an actual Italian restaurant, an actual pizzeria, something like that. And that's kind of like the how I was doing that, where if I wanted to have something, make sure it was like worth it, because I would make sure that I again saved calories for it. So I would like make sure that some of my meals like I wouldn't have that day, so that I can make sure that when I have the extra calories I'm still in deficit, or like not extra but like to have that meal I can still without any guilt have other meals in that day, just to make sure I'm not like doing a restrict like a such a heavy restriction. Yeah, so like that's kind of what I would do. And so I was worried that if I were to do the reverse, where I would get something that I know is still not good for the diet, like it's not a good thing to have regularly, but it's something that I know I can get easily and like without a second thought, because it's at Costco and I go to Costco all the time for groceries. Like I didn't want to be like, oh, now I'm gonna think about wanting to get that every time. And it's, you know, and so I didn't allow myself to do those little things where I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna buy a bag of hot Cheetos today, and then just portion it out for this week, because then I would do it the next week and then the next week. You know, so like I try to make sure that I did kind of just hold off on things that like that I knew were easily available and were like temptations for me. And then I think that did build some restraint, you know, like ability to be more like, okay, I've had it now. The temptation is, or not even the temptation, like it wasn't even like I was vying for it. I was like, I wanted it so bad. I was just kind of like, you know what? Let me go get some sushi. You know, like I've been doing pretty good. I'm gonna just have this little extra meal, like this little extra special meal. And I honestly didn't even think it was gonna be 1,000 calories though. To be very fair, I thought, oh, this is probably gonna be like 700, 800 calories, you know? Oops. And so, yeah, like sometimes there are still times where I make those mistakes, but it always ends up reinforcing the want to stick to the actual diet, which I think it's probably still that mindset shift, baby, that mindset shift. Because before, Natalie, when the diet meant was restriction and not my new normal, my new everyday, it felt like, oh, I broke the shackles. This is freedom. This is freedom. And I'm restricting myself from being able to have this food that I want. And now it just being like, oh, this is something that I can have. But, ooh, did I feel so great afterwards? No, but it was still enjoyable. Like, but it's definitely something that I don't want to do every damn day, you know? Like, not even once a week, you know? So I was just like, it's definitely the mindset change. It definitely is. But yeah, so diet's still going to plan. I'm not gonna lie, in the first half of the year, it wasn't the like I was doing like the first 2 months just like to prep myself, right? Because I don't think I mentioned this in any of the in my videos. I'm not sure if I do. But at the beginning of the year, I was trying really hard to start a GLP-1, which I'm not. I've never done one yet. Like I have not had one yet, or like implemented GLP-1 in any way throughout this year. And I don't think that's gonna change anytime soon. I think honestly, like I'm not opposed to it. I might start it if opportunity allows me. Um, but I've tried like the beginning of the year to work with my GP to get a like because I did get a prescription for it, but I just my insurance was not approving covering it, so I have just not started it. And one of my motivators for the first month of the year in all of January was I'm gonna be on a GLP-1, because even the doctor was like, yeah, let's do it. Like you're a good candidate. You seem to already know a lot about it. You know what kind of diet changes, because I did. I went in there knowing the diet changes. Like I didn't have this planned. Like the first little bit of inspo when I went to the doctor in November of last year, where I was like, I'm gonna lose weight. I need you guys to help me do all these blood tests. By January, I had gone back in, and it was for just like an update, because they were like, we want to see how you're doing with your mental health, to see if your weight loss helps with it, and see if you want to go on to anti-anxiety medication again, because they did suggest losing weight first before going onto it, which I was like, you know what, I want that. I did not like that, having to feel like a little pill was keeping me afloat. And like I said, I knew I could do it because I was living I was living like a year or two without it, and I was able to maintain just fine. I was like, so I know I can do it. Like I know it's something that I can keep like a rein on and be in the driver's seat of my life without it. So I was just like, you know what? I think that's what it is. Like I'm going to lose weight, and the reason why I knew it was going to be what I needed was because what was causing this fucking this little episode of mental like spiral was the fact that I was regaining weight. So I was like, it's definitely just weight related anxieties. I'm going to lock in and get my mental health under control. So, but they were like, hey, check back in. They're like, come back in like a couple months, because they're like, we don't want you to struggle, and like not have the support you need if you do need the medication. And I was like, no, I agree with you. Let's wait. And if I'm still struggling, then we'll reassess. And what by the time January came around for this appointment, um, I kind of I was like starting to watch a lot of content about weight loss and stuff like that. And I did see like some Ozempic type videos, and I was curious, right? Because at that point in my life, I don't think I would have ever wanted to do like medically like any kind of medical intervention for weight loss. I was too scared. I'm like, I don't know, like weight loss surgery, Ozempic I didn't know a whole lot about. Like I just knew that it helped people lose weight, but I didn't understand how. I didn't know what it did. So I was just too afraid to think of options that could help me like that. Like so I wanted to do it naturally. But then I was starting to read up on some more, or not even just read up. I was watching a lot of videos of people who were using Ozempic, GLP-1s, and all of this to lose weight. And I like with a lot more research, I was like, actually, like this isn't a bad option. Like this potentially could be something that will really help, especially hearing about people talking about how they struggle with food noise, and to put a name to that like obsession that I didn't even realize I had at the time, where I literally was obsessed with food. And the doctor literally told me that, like in November when I was first starting, I told them that, like they were like, why? Because I even told them like sometimes losing weight does affect my mental health, and they're like, why? And they're like, I was like, because giving up food like always makes me like depressed, like because I feel like I can't have the foods that I love. And they were like, it seems like like you might be someone who like like, cause, like the way he phrased it was that it's hard for some people to diet, and that dieting or like is hard for some people because it's an addiction. And he was like saying this, right? He was like, because sometimes people are addicted to food, and it is the hardest addiction to treat, because you need to eat to live. You don't need like like a narcotic to live. Like if you were to quit it and like go cold turkey and try, like I know it's hard, but you won't die. I know alcohol's a little different. I've heard alcohol's really different actually, but like he says that it's just a really hard addiction to beat. And when he phrased it like that, and I realized what the struggle that I've been going through could be considered an addiction, I realized like that it wasn't just me being a weak person, that it could legitimately just be something that was like working against me. Like, because like addiction, like, is something that I've experienced firsthand in a lot of like my family members, like where a lot of my family has suffered through different kinds of addiction. And I've always been really scared to try, like, I was always really scared to be a drinker, because I'm like, I don't want to be an alcoholic. I don't want to ever try drugs because I don't want to be like addicted to drugs. Like, because I knew my family's history and I did not want to repeat that cycle. But then to be hit with, girl, you you were always in that cycle. It was just something that it was like a slumbering like one that you just didn't have a name, or like you, because who would think that you'd be addicted to food, something that you have to eat every day. And then like when I finally got it in my mental that this is actually something that needs support, and that is actually something that's really hard to not like do alone, because people obviously do it 100% natural with no intervention all the time, but to know that support is possible with things like GLP-1s to help with that food noise and stuff, it was eye-opening to me. Because I'm not gonna lie, it kind of hurt when like I was like realizing, oh, this is an addiction. Like, and really getting to like, yes, it when I like say it out loud, sometimes like especially back then, and to not have it click to be like I'm literally describing addictive behavior where like if I don't have it, I have negative side effects mentally, emotionally, physically. That's crazy, right? Like how did that not click? And I think when I finally had that click, and then I saw all of this like content about GLP-1s, I was very like, I am going to talk to my doctor when I finally get to see them again in January about potentially starting this GLP-1. I want to see if one, they think I'm a good candidate, and I wanted to explain like I think this would help with my food noise and being able to, eat less, because I did like tell them that like I do struggle with eating too much. And and I even told them like like straight up, like without like I came prepared. I already told them I already know what the diet I need to do is, and by the time that I was already at the doctor's office talking about it, I was already implementing a GLP-1 friendly diet, because I was like I need to get into it. I was like I want them to see that I'm someone who can already have results from doing the diet, that I can stick to this diet, so that they are not like, well, how do we not know that? Oh, sorry. How do we not know that you're just going to take it and then not lose any weight? I don't know why I thought they were going to fight me on this. I don't know why I thought that was going to be super hard. So for the 2 weeks before my appointment, I started doing high protein, low carb. Like I was putting myself in the shoes of, I'm going to start a GLP-1 already. Like mentally, I was thinking about it. I was like, I need to practice the diet so that when I start the actual treatment, I'm already like, I'm not, there's no like bumps, like I'm already used to the diet. All it's going to do is help support me and support that diet so that I don't struggle while trying to maintain this restriction, right? And honestly, get like thinking that I was going to go on that GLP-1, and that was like that was a really good motivator, because the first 2 weeks I smashed it. Like that's when I started doing the meal preps, and I wasn't doing the best at balancing my meals back then because I was not yet working with a dietitian. And so I went into that appointment, and they were like, "Yeah, sounds good. You want to go on a GLP-1? Seems like you already did your research." They were just telling me like, "Here's some possible side effects. Like, I think you should start on this one, and we're gonna start you on the lowest dose." And then he's like, "And then in a month we can check back in." Like, they just jumped right into it. They didn't even give a fuck that I was already like doing all these extra things. I hadn't even mentioned it yet. I just mentioned GLP-1, and they're like, "We're happy that you're wanting to like take charge of your life, like." And they were like, "You've already lost 5 pounds." I think I had lost 5 pounds by then, something like that. I had lost a bit of weight. I think I was at like, actually I don't remember, but they were just like, "You're doing well, it looks like it's working." And they were like, "Your mental health's okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's actually been okay." And I was like, I think I'll be okay without the getting a new prescription for the anxiety meds. So I was like, okay, cool. I Well, then a month later was basically told, yeah, we're not covering this. Like it's not a weight loss drug. It's meant for like diabetes, which fair enough, right? So I was like, okay, they didn't approve it. I went to the doctor after like the month check-in where they were supposed to check on like how I was doing with the GLP-1, and I was just like, yeah, they didn't approve it. But I am still implementing the diet change, and by that time I had lost another like a bit more weight. And they're like, well, it's really working. Like, we'll try a different one. So for the first couple months, I was like really trying to get onto a GLP-1 and like working with my doctors, trying to get a pre-authorization approval and trying to get like my doctors to cover it. I'm too scared to try the compounded. I don't know why. I'm just too scared. So, but then just like from having that mindset of, I need to already have this diet down so that when I do go on it, I can have the best, most like healthy lifestyle already in place so that it can just support me, and it'll do like a double team, right? Where like now I don't have the food noise, I already have the lifestyle changes set up, like I'll be good to go. But it ended up just like, I think like probably in the end of April, I like talked to the doctor again, and I was just like, you know what? It doesn't seem like they're going to approve it. We've tried 3 different kinds, 3 different brands, 3 different like sorry, 3 types of GLP-1s. I was like, it's working. And even the doctor was like, you're doing really great. And it was because like they didn't even like suggest the GP, but I started going to a nutritionist, and I even told them like I've been going to the nutritionist, like they've been helping me balance meals, and it's been helping me a lot, like just to learn how to sustain like an 80/20 lifestyle, basically, like to make sure that I can consistently hit the 2,300 calories and all of that. And like I said, right now I'm on a little break from the dietitian, but I'm going to continue seeing her. Like that's one thing that I don't want to stop. And another thing that even just the dietitian recommended, because of course, when you're working with addiction, the mind is a big part of it, right? You want to make sure that you are going and talking to somebody to get proper support for things like that, especially when, like, I honestly would say that I probably had a bit of an ED, like, like just a 10, like definitely not the best eating habits. It was, or like, I would say more like it was disordered eating, right? I don't think like if it was an actual disorder, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that there's a distinction between those two. And so I did start therapy sometime in March, I believe. And I wouldn't say that it didn't do anything. Like there was definitely some like benefits to it that I did enjoy doing. But honestly, I think like simultaneously that's when I was making all of my videos where I was like doing video diaries, talking out my thoughts, which is something that I didn't do before. Like before, I kept everything in, and I would just like just let it whirl around in that brain of mine with zero outlet, and it would just cause like, I don't know, like it's hard to process things internally, especially in my brain, because I'll be thinking about 5 different things at once. So it's hard to like grab one of those and work through it, process it, feel it. So to talk things out and actually say them out loud, which was really tough. It was, even if it was me in a car by myself, like to get some of the stuff out was really, really hard. And then to hear it back again, hear myself like talk about it. I think it helped me more than the therapy did at that time. I think I need to find another therapist, because it's just unfortunate that they're in there's a time zone 3 hours ahead, so none of the times really worked with me. Like they would be too early in the day, and I just felt like irritated and tired during it. So I was just like, I need to find somebody more local, and I want to try implementing it again, because I do feel like I can see where it will help, like because I did do like EDR, where like you use it to like help you ground and balance, like, and like to relax, and I actually do use it and I do like it. So that is something that I do use every once in a while. So I did learn some stuff from therapy, but I'm definitely going to be re-upping it. It's just that in the time of my life that I was doing it, like I said, the timing wasn't working, and it was actually starting to cause me like some stress, because I was trying to handle new stressors from work. And then I was getting like kind of like a, in like the beginning of June, it was, I don't know if it's like a what's it called, like a breakthrough struggle, where like you're doing so good and it's so easy to avoid some foods that were tempting before. But May and June have been rough. I've been having a lot of tough time with like, I've been eating a lot more extra like snacks that I shouldn't have. Like sometimes the temptations at work when they bring food in, I've like been like, okay, I'll just eat this and not eat one of my meal preps. And then like, would I still be under the calorie deficit? Yeah, but did I feel good? No, not always. So I'm trying to make sure, like, again, that I am still going to the dietitian. I'm still tracking food. So all of that is still the same. I just think that I'm starting to be a little more loosey goosey, where I'm like, well, as long as I track it, I can eat it. And sometimes like I do need to have that discipline and be like, yeah, I could have it, but should I? Nah. Like, to I don't want to slip into it, to having that mindset. I want to make sure that my meals are aligning towards that like 70/30, more like right now, and not have any slips where I'm like, oh, well, making it more like a 60/40, like I don't want to do that. I want to have a closer to 70/30, 80/20 kind of lifestyle. And because it does feel good. Like when I've had like really, really good weeks where I'm like, damn, like every meal was super balanced. I felt so good by the end of the week. And then having weeks where I allowed myself to eat more junk, and just instantly feeling that I would be bloated because I had too much sodium. I would be having the tummy rumbles. I would be having constipation. And I'm like, oh, I don't like this feeling. Was I under my calorie deficit, and did I still lose weight? Yeah, but did I like that feeling of like eating the junk food, like too much of the junk food? No. So another little thing that I think going into the second half of this year, I'm going to rein the heck in and I mean it seriously, reining the heck in. I think I might do, and I'm just cooking this up right now, guys, in real time, is for the month of July, it's going to be zero excuses. It's going to be a strict 70-30. Like I'm not playing anymore. And I honestly think before actually no, I should talk to the dietitian first. I don't want to make changes like that without talking to her first. But I was gonna say I'm gonna go down to 2,200 calories. Like so I need to lock in because sometimes with the 2,300 calories, I do kind of feel like I got some calories to spare, y'all. So I do feel like sometimes I might eat more than I need to. So I do want to talk to the dietitian again before I make that decision. Um, I don't even think it would affect it that much, actually. 100 calories less, like, it's not going to make me lose 5 pounds in a week. If anything, I think I'm going to do it and then talk to them about it when I get an interview, when I get an appointment in, and then just to like make sure that like the macros get adjusted properly. But I'm probably just going to loosely make sure I just protein heavy, more low release carbs, and a good amount of fiber. And I'm sure I'll be fine. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I do have a couple of other non-scale changes. So yeah, so definitely temperature changes are a little bit different now. So like, I get cold more. So I wonder how winter is gonna treat me when it gets a little colder here. And then the heat doesn't bother me as much. I feel like I can breathe better. I'm definitely sleeping a lot better. And for like actual like body changes, so it's kind of hard to tell. I always say like I can actually finally start seeing a little bit. I can definitely see that I've gotten a lot smaller in things like my hands and like my wrist, just because like with at least with my Garmin watch, I've had it since last year, the start of last year, and I'm definitely like having to tighten that little like band more and more. And I think there was one that was really like, what is it? It's like it was really important to me because it was a pair of jeans that I really love these jeans, right? And they were like the kind of jeans that aren't like the torrid, stretchy jeans. So they have a little like give and take if you gain some weight, like you can still wear them a little bit longer, even if they're not your size because they're stretchy. But these jeans, I had bought them like 4 years ago. They're like size 18. And I do not see this cut of jeans anymore. And it's like a pair of jeans that once I was too big for them, I could not wear them properly. Like I would have to wear them with like two buttons unbuttoned, and I always felt like I don't know if anybody else has this like this thing that they do when they're bigger, where if it's like a pair of pants that you're like this used to fit, so you kind of like try to make it work, and it's just not your size, girl. And that was me. And so I would still try to wear these pants because I love the fit of the bottom of them. Like they're like dad jeans, kind of. Or would they be considered more mom jeans? I don't know, but I just couldn't. Like I would have to wear it with the two top buttons unbuttoned, and I would still try, even though it would cause like it would leave marks on my belly because they were so tight. I couldn't breathe while I was like sitting down in them, and it was like, so then there was a point in time where I would never put them on. They would just be hanging there, and I never wore them again because I was like, I don't know. I just like was like I don't know. Even when I lost weight last year, I still didn't try them on because I was just like, those are like, I had got in my head that no, you know what, those jeans are like never gonna fit again because they're size 18s, right? And at that point last year I was wearing like 22, 24, and then now I think like it'd be at the when I lost the 30 pounds, I had sized down to size 20. And I bought new pants because I was not fitting in anything, and I needed jeans. And I like actually did like a measuring tape to see what size I was, and I was a 20. And yep, sure enough, they fit really well. After I lost 30 pounds, I was like a size 20, May of last year. And again, those are size 18, and they're not stretchy by any means. So you got to be a size 18 to fit into them, all right? And this year, probably around mid May, I tried them back on, and not only did they fit, they feel loose. And I was like, "Oh my god." Cuz I love those jeans, right? So I was like, and just cuz again, I can't see the actual like my because I have a really big like apron belly. Like that's like the one where my weight really hangs. Like that's like where most of my fat is stored. Like 100% in the belly area. Like I have pretty big like arms on the top too, but like my legs are pretty slim. Like I don't have too big of thighs, so it's mostly just the belly. And so like when you don't really see the biggest part of you, like like losing, it's hard to tell. Like, and I'm not really doing any like measurements, but to see like that. to have that fit again when, like I said, I couldn't even button the top two buttons and I could not breathe in those pants if I put them on. And then being able to wear them and there's a little bit of give. It was crazy. It was a crazy time. I loved it. And then again, like just my shirts are starting to fit super huge. So or like I would wear 5X's. I was probably like a 4 at my biggest. But I would wear 5 because I like to have like a oversized fit. And now I would say I'm more of a 3X. And even then the 3X's that I have are pretty baggy. So like I would say like maybe I'm more of a 2X now, but the 3X is the size that I feel comfortable in because it has that oversized feel that I like. I just enjoy wearing it like that. And my 4 and 5s are like I don't know when I started feeling like I was being eaten alive by them. I think it was probably like 2 weeks ago where I put on one of my 5X's and I walked in to like a mirror, like into my bathroom to like brush my teeth, get ready for work, and I was going to wear that shirt. And then I was like, why the hell do I look so frumpy? Like the sleeves were like down to like 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 when you're wearing a bra, like the bottom band. For some reason, the sleeve ended there because it was so baggy, like it was so big, and like it didn't like it was just too big. And then like I would lift my arm, and then there was so much fabric hanging off of there. I'm like, when did that happen? Did my shirt stretch? That's what I thought at first. I was like, my shirt must have stretched in the washer. That's so weird. So I took it off and I put another shirt on, right? Because I was just like, this does not look right. It does not look right. And like I think I put on one of my 3X shirts that I just recently gotten, and I was like, okay, you see, like this fits perfect, great. And I went, and then the next day I tried on another 5X shirt, and the same thing, where I finally noticed. I think it was like a bagginess blindness, where I wasn't noticing how baggy it was on me, but then maybe like I don't know, I was starting to get more comfortable in my 3X's, and I liked that fit more. That when I finally put the 5X's on again, I realized I'm swimming in this. I'm like absolutely swimming in this, and I realized I look so frumpy in these. I can't believe I've been wearing this, even though I like, it's because like I wasn't feeling like or noticing anything visually. And again, like I don't do it for like validation from others, but sometimes hearing from others, because I like one of my coworkers, like he's the one that I like basically like he's leaving, I'm coming in, so like I'm the one that supports Nice's does days, and he like one day he looked at me, he's like, "Girl, you're really slimming down," and I was like, "Really?" I was like, "You think so?" I was like, "I literally can't tell." I was like, "Sometimes I think that I don't know, like what am I losing?" I'm like although the scale's going down, but I'm not seeing it anywhere. And he's like, "No, I can tell, like your face." And I was like, like it's like a relief. I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like it's like hard. It's like the paper towel thing, right? Where you're like slowly like taking roll like sheets off the paper towel, but it isn't until you're halfway through the roll that you're like, "Oh shoot, like this got really small." And then I hadn't seen somebody at work in a really long time. Like they work in a different department, and I hadn't seen them since like April. And I saw them the other day, and they literally like stopped. They were like, "Natalie, are you losing weight?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, like I've been losing weight." And she's like, "Oh my god, I could tell so." Like I was like, the second I saw you, I was like, "Whoa, what the heck?" Like it's so different. And so like again, if anybody's going through a weight loss journey and you're not feeling it, and you're like, "I can't tell, I still feel as big as I was before," it's it's really hard to tell the difference while you're going through it. It's really hard to notice the difference within yourself. It isn't going to be until again you have that moment when you realize, shit, this don't fit no more. What the hell? Like like I swear I've been wearing this all like I wore this like 2 weeks ago, a week ago. Like it must have stretched. Like it's stuff like that that it takes a while, but it's just in our brains we don't see the difference. So if anybody else is going through it like me right now, where they're finally starting to notice some difference, it does really help support like the weight loss journeys, hearing it from other people too. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at so far, y'all. Like I've been, like I said, there's been up and downs. That's kind of where I'm starting at now. And like I know it's not easy to start, but the time is gonna pass anyways. It's gonna pass anyways. So you really don't lose anything from starting and trying it. And this is coming from someone who, again, perfectionism was something I was trying to overcome, and I was trying to be like perfect at stuff the first time. And if you're anything like that, like you are, like it's okay to make mistakes and learn, as long as you're like the mistakes that you're making are benefiting you mentally, physically. It's still all positive. You know, like it's still going to be a net positive for you, because even if maybe like the diet that you choose, oh, like you realize later, oh man, I was eating too many carbs. Like I probably would have lost more weight if I would have switched to more fiber, to more like yeah, like it's good to take those and learn from them, but don't bring yourself down. And I'm speaking to myself right now because I'm going to edit this, and I need to hear and reinforce it in here as well, that sometimes when we do make those mistakes, you just got to really not internalize it, but feel it. Feel like, okay, so how did we feel after we did that? Not that great. Awesome. Like let's try to, like, let's reduce this to only every once in a while and keep on trucking. So I hope everybody enjoyed this little game theory. I know we're finally getting out of just collecting resources, if anyone's paying attention to that at all. This one, like, I'm finally getting into the building, like the building landscaping sort of thing, where I'm actually trying to set up my little world, like I'm actually trying to make things. um so yeah, like it's gonna, like I said, speed up more if that's something that you're like, oh, this is so slow, she's just doing random things. I'm not gonna lie, I do a lot of random things. Sometimes I'll just freaking be in the fields, okay, getting wheat for an hour, and it's fun to me. So I don't know, that's just how I play Minecraft. If you can always two-time exit or something, I don't know. But all right, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'm gonna try to make 2 videos a week. So if you did like, my Yap sessions, I'm gonna start implementing different kinds of Yap content soon. Right now I have a lot of videos to catch up on. I think once I start running out of like videos of my weight loss stuff, like, just because I want to really get through it so I can record more. Because I did actually kind of stop recording a little bit, and it's probably because it's gotten a lot easier. I have a lot less to talk about. But yeah, if you, like, again, want different Yap topics, stick around and subscribe. But I will see you guys later. Bye.